Hello lovely friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Riffa. In this video, I was walking around the French Quarter in New Orleans back in October 2020. Things might change now guys, nevertheless, stay tuned and enjoy the video. I got off of my streetcar at the French Market station and I started off my walk that day from the Jazz Museum in French Quarter. The New Orleans Jazz Museum celebrates jazz in the city where it was born. Through dynamic interactive exhibits, multi-generational educational programming, research facilities, and engaging musical performances, the music New Orleans made famous is explored in all its forms. Through partnerships with local, national, and international educational institutions, the New Orleans Jazz Museum promotes the global understanding of jazz as one of the most innovative, historically pivotal musical art forms in world history. Its collection is composed of photographs, audio recordings, and musical instruments, primarily dealing with traditional New Orleans jazz. Housed in the historic Old U.S. Mint, the New Orleans Jazz Museum is in the heart of the city's vibrant music scene. The New Orleans Mint has been designated a National Historical Landmark, and it is the oldest extant structure to have served as a U.S. Mint. After the Jazz Museum, guys, I continued to the French Market, which is located right across the Jazz Museum. The French Market opens daily from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Since 1791, the historic French Market has remained an enduring symbol of pride and progress for the people of New Orleans. In over 200 years of existence, the market has been built, destroyed, and rebuilt many times over. But what remains unchanged is the market's central spirit of commerce, community, and culture that is irresistible to visitors from near and far. So guys, French Market is basically commercial buildings spanning 6 blocks in the French Quarter of New Orleans. However guys, honestly, I think French Market is very much touristic now, but it's good to know. Also guys, you can find unusual food here like these gator bites. Before I continue my walk, I stop here at the statue of Joan of Arc. I stop at another statue that I admire. This is the statue of Martha, a market customer. It is located at New Orleans Jazz National Historic Park. Only in New Orleans could there be a national park for jazz. Oh my gosh. However, do not confuse New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park with the Jazz Museum that I visited earlier. They are completely two different buildings. Unfortunately for me guys, when I visited, the museum was closed and I just checked that they're still closed temporarily. My next destination, guys, no other than the one and only Café du Monde, a must-visit cafe when you're in New Orleans. The original Café du Monde was established in 1862 in the New Orleans French Market. The cafe is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It closes only on Christmas Day and on the day an occasional hurricane passes too close to New Orleans. The most famous snack in Café du Monde is beignet that you must absolutely try when you're in New Orleans. So beignet is basically donuts. It's just with a French name and French styles. In front of Cafe du Monde is Washington Artillery Park, sits across from Jackson Square along the Mississippi riverfront. It was formally dedicated in 1976 to honor the soldiers of France, Spain, the Confederacy, and the United States. My next destination, obviously, the Jackson Square. So I'm gonna go across the streets. The buildings around the Jackson Square might look very old, but guys, they are boutiques, they are restaurants, they are cafes, and they are also the souvenir shops. Many artists also sell their arts here. They are painters, they are also the jazz musicians, there are also the fortune tellers, there are also some other kind of artists. There are many artists here around Jackson Squares. So guys, you will see the informations about the French Quarter or this Jackson Square in English, in Spanish, and in French. The history of New Orleans traces the city's development from its founding by the French in 1718 through its period of Spanish control, then briefly back to French rule before being acquired by the United States in the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. Hence the three languages. So this famous landmark facing the Mississippi River is surrounded by historic buildings, including the St. Louis Cathedral, the Presbytere and Cabildo, their museums, not to mention the Lower and Upper Pontalba Apartments, the oldest apartment buildings in the United States. The Pontalba Apartments offer retail shops, museums, galleries, and restaurants. The first building on my left-hand side is the Cabildo Museum. There are more than 500 artifacts and original works of art in the building. Portraits of famous Louisiana figures and many interactive displays can be found throughout the museum. My next stop was the St. Louis Cathedral, located just right next to the Cabildo Museum. The St. Louis Cathedral is one of the New Orleans' most notable landmarks. The Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis, King of France, is the oldest Catholic cathedral in continual use in the United States. The greatest moment in the history of the St. Louis Cathedral was the visit of Pope John Paul II in September 1987. You have seen his statue right before I entered this cathedral. Right next to the St. Louis Cathedral is Presbyterian Museum, and that's my next destination. The Presbytere houses an elaborate and exquisite collection of Mardi Gras artifacts and memorabilia. The story of New Orleans' extraordinary Mardi Gras tradition is dynamically told in a high-tech, interactive, permanent exhibition titled Mardi Gras, It's Carnival Time in Louisiana. Visitors will learn about the Mardi Gras celebrations in the state's rural areas with rites that resemble those associated with village festivals of 12th century Europe. Another interesting memorabilia from the Presbyterian Museum was the Katrina Hurricane memorabilia. I learned a lot about the Katrina Hurricane here in the Presbyterian Museum. My next destination was the Voodoo Museum. Of course, New Orleans is famous for its voodoo history. But before I went there, I just walked along to another side of the Jackson Square and I saw the 1850 museum. I visited the 1850 house on the next day and shockingly guys, I had experienced the sighting of the spirit of a child in that museum. Voodoo has been a significant part of New Orleans culture since the city was first established in the 1700s. The New Orleans Historic Voodoo Museum strives to preserve this aspect of NOLA history through education and entertainment. The museum explores the mysteries, legends, and traditions of voodoo and educates visitors on the influence voodoo has had throughout the city's history. The New Orleans Pharmacy Museum officially opened to the public in 1950. Visitors can peruse 2 floors of exhibits on 19th century pharmacy, medicine, and healthcare. Feature exhibits demonstrate the impact medicine had on the culture and community of the 19th century New Orleans. Visitors will learn about questionable medical practices, herbal medicine, bloodletting, surgery, the history of epidemics, and much more. In the modern French Quarter stands the Omni Royal Orleans Hotel, located at 621 St. Louis Street. However, guys, in this location in the 1800s stood the St. Louis Exchange Hotel, a hub of political, economic, and social life in New Orleans, and largely throughout the Deep South. This hotel also was one of the main locations for slave auctions in the mid-1800s in the South. That's a really sad story, but basically all over the French Quarter is filled with this tragic slavery history. I ended my day sitting by the Mississippi River, watching the ships come and go. It helped me to calm down and relax a little bit after the whole day walking around the French Quarter. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope this been informative. I hope this been useful for you, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye-bye!